Hello friends, it's Mr. Jim and welcome back to Kids Short Stories. Today is Saturday, which you know what that means. It's Kids Animal Stories Day. We actually do a lot more stories, not just on Saturday, but today I love for you to make sure that you listen to our animal story adventure after this episode. Are you guys ready for an amazing story that Joseph sent me? This one is going to get a little bit crazy, but are you ready for today's adventure? Me too, let's go! It was late in the afternoon when Joseph was working in his secret basement lab. Yes, Joseph was on our spy team and he was doing all kinds of amazing experiments. Things that I can't even talk about. But the one thing I can tell you is that Joseph is very smart. He had developed a machine that could turn dirt into chocolate, and then chocolate into gold. Holy smokes, that is so cool. If you could turn dirt into anything, what would you turn it into? I think Joseph is onto something with that chocolate. Then I could have an unlimited supply of chocolate just in my backyard. All right, Joseph, I'm going to need to know those instructions. Can you please send them to me? Well, as Joseph was working on all kinds of different experiments, it was pretty normal for things to get a little messy or to go unpredictably unplanned. You know, if you're trying to make something or create something, sometimes, the unexpected happens. Well, today something, I guess you could say, pretty unexpected happened to Joseph. All right, said Joseph as he put on his safety goggles, his lab jacket, and his gloves. Ever since Dr. Stinky Breath and the Purple Ninjas stole that Magnahoop from the museum, everything has gotten a little bit more complicated. Do you guys remember the Magnahoop? Yes, the Magnahoop was where it was in that museum a while ago, and Dr. Stinky Breath and the Purple Ninjas, they stole it, and anything you put it through the Magnahoop, it becomes extra large. And the spy team definitely needs our own Magnahoop, said Joseph. And I think I'm almost done. He had been working on this, I guess you could call it the Magnahoop 2.0. He'd been working on it for a very long time. It was amazing. It was about the size of a hula hoop, and it was glowing. It had these crazy cool lights inside of it that made it glow, and it made this sound like this. All right, I think it's time to test it, said Joseph. He made sure that all of his safety gear was on and looked for something to put through the Magnahoop 2.0. What would you pick to put through a hoop that would make it get really big? Like, just imagine if you just had like a crumb of a cookie and you put the crumb through, maybe you would turn back into the full cookie. I think I need one of those. Well, Joseph was looking around for something, and he grabbed a cupcake. This will be perfect. My friend's birthday is coming up, and maybe I can turn this normal size cupcake into like a full cake size. Like, if I put the cupcake through, then it'll turn into a giant cupcake cake. I don't think I've ever seen a cupcake cake before. Have you? That would be super awesome. All right, Joseph, what's gonna happen? As Joseph placed the cupcake on a tray, he carefully pushed it through the Magnahoop. As he pulled it out on the other side, nothing happened. Wait a second. Why didn't it work? All my testing had worked perfectly so far, and oh no. Joseph was really bummed. Then as he looked down at his cupcake that was still normal sized, there was a fly sitting on it. Hey, get out of here! As he swatted away at the fly started flying all around. Bzzz. Hey, get out of here, fly! Said Joseph. He was trying to get rid of the fly, but unfortunately the fly had other plans. Zzz. Oh, not towards the Magnahoop! No, don't do that! The fly flew right through the Magnahoop, but nothing happened. Oh, phew. That would have been terrible if the fly became like supersized. Yikes. All right, well, I guess that's it for today, said Joseph. It was getting really late, and it was definitely time for Joseph to go to bed. As he turned off the lights in his lab basement, he put everything away, including the cupcake. He put the cupcake in his refrigerator and got ready for bed and went to sleep. Well, that night, something crazy happened. Dun, dun, dun! The next morning, it was a beautiful day. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and Joseph was waking up and getting out of bed. As he rubbed his eyes and his face and stretched, he walked downstairs to the kitchen and, holy smokes! What happened to the refrigerator? It looks like the cupcake monster has returned, Joseph said. As he looked at his refrigerator, the door was hanging off of its hinge and there was cupcake stuff everywhere. It's like a cupcake explosion. As he pulled the door open further, he noticed that the entire refrigerator was completely full of cupcake. Wait a second. Joseph's mind started to race. You don't think it actually worked? Like, what if the Magnahoop worked on the cupcake and now it just took a little bit more time to grow? My invention worked! Yes! Joseph was dancing all around the kitchen, and as his parents walked in and saw this giant cupcake mess, Joseph said, I'm so sorry, I will clean this up. This is all my fault, but it's actually really exciting. Oh my goodness, Joseph, what happened? Well, I put a cupcake through a Magnahoop 2.0 and now it exploded and got super duper big. But now we have tons of cupcake for days. Joseph was holding the cupcakes in his hand and smiling really big at his parents, hoping they wouldn't be really upset. And I think his parents were too sleepy to really understand what in the world was going on. What was that sound? Joseph turned over towards the basement door that was closed, but he heard a terribly loud buzzing sound. Uh-oh. If the cupcake took all night to get super duper big after the Magnahoop, what about the fly? Joseph thought to himself. You don't think overnight the fly grew to like a super duper big size, do you? Oh dear. Joseph swallowed a big gulp of the cupcake he had taken a bite of earlier and walked over towards the basement door. He was afraid to open the door. Would you open it? Or would you run for your life if there was a giant fly on the other side? Well, Joseph chose to be brave. He walked closer and closer, and finally put his hand on the doorknob. He opened the door, and there it was! 2 ginormous fly eyes staring at him right in front of Joseph. Joseph slammed the door back shut. He turned around and leaned up against the door. What have I done? Oh dear. I'm definitely going to need to call HQ about this one. We'll have to wait and see what happens on the next episode of Kids Short Stories. Great job, you listened all the way to the end, and you know what time it is. It's time for Kid Shoutouts. I want to say hey to Sammy from Australia, Shua from Melbourne, Australia, Ezra from Malaysia, Yash from Dubai, Iris and Abraham from Fort Collins, Colorado, and Prathamesh from Indonesia. I'm so glad that you're all in the Kid Short Stories family and on our spy team. We could not stop Dr. Stinky Breath and his crew without you, my friends. Will you have a super duper day? And I will see you over on the Kids Animal Stories podcast right now. Bye!